Okay, here's an issue that I'm of two minds about. If somebody outside of their whole transgender thing served honorably outside of that, and they served long enough to get the early retirement pensions. Now, I don't understand the early retirement pensions, but they've got them now. Um, if they served honorably other than that, I don't think that they should be denied their early retirement pensions. But at the same time, this whole transgender thing, you doing that in the military, no. There are a lot of jobs that are in the military that would just be a detriment. Not to mention, really, but whatever. That's a social consciousness issue. I've got my opinions. You've got your opinions. If you agree with me on it, you don't agree with me on it. Whatever. That's what it is. But at the same time, these folks that were in served between 15 and 18 years should have been allowed to get their early retirement pensions. It, but if they aren't, you know what? This is leading to a lawsuit now. And it's coming from members that were in the Air Force. So it's not like you needed to be a man or a woman to do most any of the jobs except perhaps be a PJ. But these folks you need to hear about this because this is going to turn into a whole issue. It's going to be covered by conservative and liberal media, I can guarantee you, depending on how big of an issue it becomes. So, I'm going to tell you about it beforehand so you could be looking out for it because, hey, this is your tax dollars. Whoever is helping these 17 transgender members of the Air Force, they're getting tax dollars to represent them because it'll probably become a class action and that blows in government money. I don't understand how all that works, but yeah, there's some laws in place that the feds, win or lose, will pay part of the settlement on certain case, or part of the money, not the settlement, but the money towards the lawyers in this case. It gets weird. But before we get into this and before I do my introduction, hit like and subscribe for me if you want to know what's going on the federal, state, or local level of government because this affects you, taxpayer dollars, all that. And hitting like and subscribe will really help me out. Now, also, I have a link tree down below. It's got my Patreon, got several other pages like my sports stuff. Hey, check it out. Help me out on the Patreon if you want to, or hit YouTube membership if you're on YouTube. Let's get into this. One of the things that I grew up around rednecks and being a redneck is rednecks move forward. I've watched all of America get to the point that we stagnate. We're stagnating in what we're learning. We're stagnating in all sorts of areas. We're not allowing certain things to happen correctly. Instead, we're focusing on issues that are harming us more than helping us. This country was built by those that wanted us to succeed. Guess what? We need to. So, that's what this channel is all about, knowing how government is slowing us down. Okay, this is coming through military.com. It's an AP, so I've already found that yes, this is happening. Military.com, sometimes their information's not right, but whatever. Uh I look at that I look through military.com for topics of videos. And they sometimes cover some interesting stuff when you can prove it. Group of 17 transgender members of the Air Force is suing the U.S. government over what they say is military's unlawful revocation of their early retirement pensions and benefits. Lawsuit filed in federal court Monday, and this is from November 13th, so it's been a little while. Come several months after the Air Force confirmed that they would deny all transgender service members who have served between 15 and 18 years the option to retire early and would instead separate them without retirement benefits. It's just the latest series of legal challenges to Trump administration's policies that have sought to push transgender troops out of the military since the early days of his second term. U.S. Supreme Court in May, however, allowed the ban of trans troops to be enforced while legal challenges proceed. According to GLAD Law, one of the advocacy groups that helps brings the lawsuit, service members affected by the policy will now face a loss of up to $2 million owed for their services over the course of their lifetime, in addition to the loss of health insurance benefits. Michael Haley, staff attorney with the group, said the revocation of the early retirement benefits was part of the general cruelty in attacking whatever. Logan Ireland, a master sergeant in the Air Force with 15 years service that includes the deployment to Afghanistan, joined the lawsuit after having his early retirement denied. So, is he trans? So, was he originally a female that's becoming a male? It's just whatever. Um, Pentagon did not immediately respond to comment, but his long-standing policy. Oh, Logan Ireland. The military taught me to lead and fight, not retreat. Stripping away my retirement sends the message that those values only apply on the battlefield, not when a service member needs them most. These are folks who are going to move on with their lives, have received the okay to do so, and then have that taken away from them once again, Haley said. Okay, so bunch of people. Okay. President Donald Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth have targeted diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts in what they say is an effort to make the military more lethal. Pentagon officials say 4,200 troops have been diagnosed with gender dysphoria, which the military is using as an identifier for being transgender. The Air Force has been unique in implementing policies that have gone beyond just separating troops from military service. In addition to revoking retirement benefits, the service moved in August to deny transgender members of the Air Force the chance to argue before a board of their peers for the right to continue serving. The Pentagon rolled out a similar military-wide policy of that policy less than 2 weeks ago. So my question is, if the person was not transitioning and was maintaining whatever gender appearance that they needed to keep, why would you kick them out for gender dysphoria? But I'm not arguing about Trump's. I'm not thinking that trans folks need to be in the military anyway. There's a whole bunch of rigmarole when it comes to these hormones and all that. That right there should keep them from going into the military. There's way too many other issues dealing with that the military does not need. It has nothing to do with whether I advocate for trans rights or whatever. It's a simple fact of that the changes that occur because of all of these weird hormones being, well, it's not weird hormones, but whatever hormones are being pumped into the body, it's not your natural to that person's body. So these hormones are doing weird things to people's minds, doing weird things to their physicality. The military needs to maintain certain standards. If a person can't keep their mental facilities about them from taking this medication, then no, that's not good. If they can't keep their health up because of this medication, that's not good. No, these people do not need to be in the military. But you know what? If they were told they were going to get their pensions, yeah, let them have their pensions. If they serve 15 to 18 years, give them the same things that you give everybody else that served 15 to 18 years. This isn't a situation. We do things in the military, or we there are things that have been done in the military that make absolutely no sense. You have people that had silver stars and more that served in World War II. Yet, if it was found out that they were homosexual, they were sent to, no matter what the branch was, where they were sent to San Francisco to the Presidio to be kicked out of the military. And they were kicked out with the worst thing that you could have, even though these are people that had fought in combat honorably. Not only honorably, there were people that had served that had gotten a lot of honors from fighting in the military. When it turned out that they were gay, they were sent to San Francisco. This is the beginnings of why San Francisco became what San Francisco became. People don't know that. If somebody serves honorably, why kick them out? I've never understood that. Has nothing to do whether I agree with their lifestyle or not. If they are not doing something that is detrimental but they're actually honorable warriors, why are you kicking them out? If these people are diagnosed with gender dysphoria but have done nothing to make changes to their body, keep them in until they get to the point that they're ready to leave. If they're serving honorably, why are you kicking them out? There are so many things wrong with the implementation of what is needing to be done that I have a problem with. If a person is actually transitioning, no, they don't need to be in the military. I've stated my reasons why. But we might need to quit allowing just every force being done. If the folks not trying, just because you have this, it doesn't. Most people get diagnosed with stuff that I was talking to a psychiatrist the other day. He said that him and other psychiatrists have started reviewing what some of the there's quack psychiatrists, as there are quack doctors. He said so many of these diagnoses, they look at it and go, "Where did this come from?" Like seriously, they one of his colleagues had a patient come to them after having moved from another state, and they said what they'd gotten their medical records, and he was looking at diagnosis, did everything he was supposed to do dealing with diagnosis, and then he realized no, he actually did the test because the diagnosis had no medical test. They did the medical test that would actually confirm the diagnosis. Turns out that they were just being treated with medication for something they didn't have. That is the problem of medicine nowadays. But hey, this has been Paul, the Redneck Thinker. This is just something for you to think about. Y'all have a good day now. Bye. I hope that you liked the video. I really do. Hit like and subscribe for me, because I'm going to come out with far more videos, and you get all kinds of chance. Also, don't forget, my link tree's down below. You can get to my Patreon that way, or go to my other stuff. This has been Paul. Have a good day.